non-spoiler thoughts on WandaVision, the full season. What did you think?
Oh, I loved it. This was, such a bold and, different choice for Marvel to take instead of, they've been putting out all these movies over the years. It's been, such a break from their like standard format of like, let's put out this big blockbuster film, and instead it's this series. And I think it was the right creative choice on their end. It was, with the exception of like the first 2 episodes there, I was not bored at all throughout this entire series. Like I was a little bit bored in the first 2 episodes just because it was a little bit slow, but overall, the series as it was wrapping up, I was just really impressed by it. I was, just blown away by the acting skills of, Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, and I think it was just such an amazing way to start off like Phase 4 and kick into something a little bit different. What about you, Don? What are your initial thoughts?
I agree. I really liked it. I actually wasn't bored in the first 2 episodes, though. I really loved what they were going for, and I understand that's not for everybody, and that's fine. But I think they did a really good job at introducing us to what Marvel TV can be, and I understand Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was around. The Netflix shows were, in the loosest possible sense, technically connected to the MCU, but not really.
Right.
But I enjoyed how, similar to what The Mandalorian does, it is a TV show in this universe, and it plays like one. It's not the Netflix style of 8-hour to 13-hour movie that we've seen from, the more bingeable streaming shows. And I like that it leans into the TV format, because if you're going to make a TV show, why not just do that? Unless you're like a Game of Thrones or something. Not everything has to be that. But I agree that performances were just crushed across the board. I enjoyed the sitcom framing device very much, and it was just a really promising return to Marvel for me.
Absolutely. And what I really enjoyed about this series is that we got to explore these 2 characters that have always kind of felt like B characters to me, like in Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War. It always kind of felt like Wanda and Vision were the backstory characters. They were the B plot. We weren't really going to focus on them. They were just going to be kind of there to, just cause some chaos, do some kind of damage, be those extra players on the board. But, I don't think that we ever really got to explore them too heavily in those other films. So I was really happy that they decided to make this creative choice and focus more on WandaVision and, bring those characters to the forefront, give them some more backstory, give them, some more things to actually do besides just be, badass superheroes,
Right,
So,
I agree. And I enjoyed, I think this is a side effect of the TV format too, but I enjoyed that there was so much time to just spend with the characters. They didn't have to be fighting everything or saving the world, and of course there is that in here. It allowed them to breathe a little bit more, and it was a very small scale story, which is nice to see, because in the movies, just a byproduct of what they are, they're blockbuster movies, so I think audiences do expect a big bombastic ending with really high stakes. And now that Marvel is stretching out their storytelling a little bit in the TV, maybe we can see more and more stories that aren't necessarily that, like more slice of life stuff. And I don't know, I like these movies because I like the characters, and it's to be able to see more of the character side of the character in addition to the action superhero side.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, kind of going off of that point, I would say, the superhero genre is kind of, it's very formulaic, or at least the origin stories are, like you're going to have like...
they're very played out.
Yeah, exactly. They're played out. You'll always have the protagonist. You'll always have the big baddie antagonist that you kind of spot. At least 30 minutes into the film, and you kind of already know how it's going to end. When you watch like Iron Man, I kind of already think I know what's going to happen by the end of this film. But that's the great thing about this show is like it wasn't always clear to everybody what was going on. It was very different. It wasn't like here's A, B, and C. Here's how it's going to go. It was more like, here's A, and here's Z, and we're going to meet somewhere in the middle, So, I like how they broke that kind of formula of the superhero genre, and yeah, like just what you were saying, it's nice to see them stretching their storytelling abilities and, getting those legs going.
Do you think we should just jump into spoilers at this point so we can speak for
it? Is kind of difficult to talk about the show without talking about the spoilers.
Yeah, it definitely is. So,
yeah, let's dive in.
Yeah.